Good evening, Irish fans, and welcome to another episode of Notre Dame football on the voice of college football. That's MarkRogersTV. Tonight, coming at you after a big game against Clemson. One obviously that feels good. Feels good to for Notre Dame to get sort of a proverbial monkey off its back, win against the top 10 opponent. An opponent that brings back a little bit of flashbacks from some other good times in Notre Dame football, and really establishes Notre Dame as being on the scene of being kind of the big boys of college football. I am your host, Ben Belden. It is about 11:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in Ohio. I have if you're watching this on YouTube right now, you see me rubbing my eye a little bit. I'm a little bit tired, a little bit real exhausted about this particular one. I'm having contact issues. Things are going real poorly right now, but it's all good because Notre Dame won tonight against Clemson. And so we're here to talk about it real quick. Maybe have a little bit, keep this one pretty short as it is late. And then we'll definitely get back to you within the next couple of days to talk about this particular one a little bit more. So anyhow, again, I'm your host, Ben Belden. I don't know if I said that or not. I think I did. If you're watching this on YouTube, at Real B Belden, it's on the screen. So join in the conversation and come on over, have that conversation on Twitter as well. If you're looking for the audio of this podcast, you're looking for the Under the Dome pod. That's anywhere podcasts are found. You can find this show when I remember to click the right buttons and get the MP3 and send it on over there, which I'll be honest, doesn't happen all the time. So we want you at the Notre Dame Voice of College Football channel. So go to MarkRogersTV.com, scroll on over, subscribe to the Notre Dame specific channel, set those alerts so that you know that when we're going live, we like to try to do some of these live shows either right after the game or sometimes on the day after games, or both, as may be the case this time. So if you have comments, by all means, leave them in the chat. Had a couple people who tuned in and are tuned in that have left comments throughout the night. Again, got to apologize a little bit. We're pretty late tonight. The game ended a little while ago. I'll be honest, as a college football fan, wanted to sit and watch the end of that Alabama LSU game. Unfortunately, I don't know that I should say unfortunately, because I don't really have any ill feelings towards Brian Kelly or his current program, but LSU pulls that one out 32-31. And a lot of other good things going on throughout college football today. But to the topic at hand, obviously, is Notre Dame's handling of Clemson. And I got to just, it's raw right now. I only have a couple of real takeaways on this one. So I'm just going to ramble through those real quick. Again, might only go about 20 minutes tonight. I'm limping finish line on this particular day. Big day for me. But anyhow, so here's my first takeaway. Here are the first part of what I think immediately following this Notre Dame game, having not really a ton of time to digest all of it. Here's what I feel. Okay. Notre Dame moves to 6-3. First of all, bowl eligible. That kind of gets that monkey off Notre Dame's back in terms of, so that's not something we have to think about anymore. And I'll be honest, there were times early on in this one, in the season, I guess I should say, that I thought, well, will Notre Dame get there? So bowl eligible, that's huge. Okay. Get an extra game to prepare for, extra practice time with this team. Obviously looking like Notre Dame is trending in the right direction to finish this season with 8 or 9 wins. And that all feels good. Feels like Notre Dame can beat anybody that they play right now. And obviously, I've felt that at different times throughout the year, despite certain struggles that Notre Dame has had. I really felt like, and I think other people have put it this way. So I don't know who to give credit to for this particular term, but I'll say this. Somewhere in Notre Dame's football team, there's a good football team there. It hasn't all come together every single time for Notre Dame. Obviously, losses to Ohio State and then Marshall and Stanford are real smudges on Notre Dame's schedule. But I've always felt like when Notre Dame gets it, they'll get it. And tonight they got it. Notre Dame, to me, what this particularly felt like was Marcus Freeman has now taken over this program, and this program's starting to fit into the, image and likeness of what Marcus Freeman envisioned for this particular football team. And I think before the season, Marcus talked an awful lot about being a power run team, a team that, controls the line of scrimmage and is very physical and runs very physically. And we didn't always see that at the beginning of the season. We didn't always see the offensive line firing off and hitting dudes and making holes. And we didn't see the running backs running with the confidence and the just reckless abandon that we see the running backs running with right now. We didn't see some of the play action stuff that, frankly, at times in this particular game, although the passing game was not great, the play action got Notre Dame a first down to Jaden Thomas late in the game that they needed at the time. Really had the capper to Michael Mayer to really just kind of put the cherry on top of this one. Notre Dame quarterbacks, when they're able to run play action and get out on the corner, have been, pretty good this year, pretty good in play action. So I don't know. It seems to me that, if you're kind of going back and sort of like going through the rewind of this particular season, Notre Dame did the thing where, big game to start the year. Notre Dame probably wasn't ready for it where they are in the program right now, and lose a tough one at Ohio State. Real focus letdown and adrenaline letdown against Marshall. And then, then it starts to, feel a little bit better. And then just kind of an inexplicable loss to Stanford. And after that Stanford game, feels an awful lot like Marcus Freeman went into the facility and said, okay, enough is enough. We're going to do what I want to do. That's run the football. That's pound teams. Let's be really aggressive on defense and be really physical on offense. And that's what we're going to do. And so that seems like what has happened, to be honest with you. I would love to know, and I would love for a reporter to ask, Marcus, what changed after the Stanford loss? What's different? Why is this team so much better? What happened? What happened from a coaching and strategy perspective is really kind of what I would like to know. But if I had to guess, it was, okay, Tommy, we've done it your way, hasn't worked. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to commit to the run. We're going to play big boy football. And then the rest of it's going to flow off of that. And, I love that. I love it. I love how Notre Dame is just pounding the football right now. And to go and to do what Notre Dame did and to run the ball the way that they did when a team like Clemson knew that they were going to run the football, that's just unbelievable to me. There's nothing more satisfying, in my opinion, as I'm not a coach, but there's nothing more satisfying than knowing Notre Dame is going to run the football, knowing that Clemson knows that Notre Dame is going to run the football, and knowing that Clemson has no chance at stopping Notre Dame from running the football. And that's how it felt for about 95% of this particular game. Notre Dame really, took care of business, won the field position battle all night. Defense was phenomenal. Obviously, Benjamin Morrison, who, as I tweeted, it is, in fact, all about the Benjamins. Just an unbelievable night. True freshman. Just great game all around. So, pound the football, play some defense, get some turnovers. That's another big thing that Notre Dame hadn't done defensively that they're starting to do now, is get those takeaways when they need them. Those takeaways, huge part of tonight's game. Obviously, they returned the interception for the touchdown. Oh my goodness, Brian Mason, build him the statue, all of that good stuff. Everybody's been saying that for the last couple of games now. I cannot get over how Notre Dame's defense really, changed that game, kept that game, held that game in check. And then the offense, at the very least, enough to win the football game. And boy, when this offense comes along, this team is going to be really, really good. And I'm not just talking about this team in 2022. I'm talking about this team, moving forward. I can't imagine that the fire Marcus Freeman or Marcus Freeman doesn't know what he's doing haters are saying an awful lot tonight. And if they are, tell them to shut up, because it's I don't know. It's Marcus Freeman clearly, it's just, in my opinion, you're just starting to see the way that Marcus Freeman envisioned this particular football team. And it's coming to fruition. It's going to continue to come to fruition because of, recruiting and better talent and all of that stuff. That's the next layer to this that's just so important, is that, Notre Dame looks like, if there was a game that the fans were going to get excited for, it was going to be this one. It had to be this one, I guess I should say. Notre Dame brought out the red carpet for a bunch of recruits and commits to bring them in and see this particular game. And, at night in South Bend, and they did the light show before the game, which looked really cool and all of that good stuff. And then the atmosphere for the game was, from what I could tell on television, an unbelievable atmosphere where, in terms of, it was exciting from the beginning to end. And it sounds like that stadium was loud. It's like all of that was, the game atmosphere was as top notch as we've seen at Notre Dame. And believe me, I'm one of the people that has been particularly critical of the atmosphere at Notre Dame. Seems like that's trending in the right direction under Marcus Freeman. I'd love, again, to know how much of that is his idea, how much he's devoted to thinking about that, or whether he's just said a couple of ideas and other people have gone and run with it. But all of that is tremendous. Love to see it. Again, Notre Dame starting to look like the type of team that you expected under Marcus Freeman. At least for now, I'm satisfied with Tommy and his play calling. And as I tweeted, and this will kind of be my final point, we've had about 10 to 12 people in here all the time. So if you got a comment, by all means, leave that comment. I'm going to read a couple of these later as we kind of close the show, at least. But if you have one between now and then, let me know. Put it in the comment section. Love to hear from you. So not going to open up the phone lines tonight, by the way. We're planning to probably get back on here again tomorrow night. And maybe do a live show. So make sure you're looking out for that. So if you're new here and you're one of the people in here, make sure you're subscribed so you know when that live show happens. We like the interaction here. So, man, we're topping out here. We're peaking at this point. So, another thing I guess that I will say, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, said this on Twitter, and again, if you're not following, I'd love it if you would go over and follow me on Twitter at RealBBelton. Again, I take a lot of the conversations from Twitter and I bring them over here, or, a lot of the things that I talk about over here come from or stem from Twitter conversations that I've had. So if you'd follow me over there, that would be sweet. I'd really enjoy that. But anyway, I tweeted this earlier. I'm actually looking up the tweet because right here live with people staring at me, I'm sure. I'm forgetting exactly what I said, but, I know this is, given how Notre Dame's looked at times this year, this is maybe what some might call a crazy thing to say, but it just feels like Notre Dame is so close to being a contender, a team that can now beat the Clemsons and the Alabamas and the Ohio States and those types of teams, and it didn't feel that close last year at this time, I might add. But it feels like just watching that game that Notre Dame is so close to being a contender with the amount of pieces that they have, that it's a little bit frustrating because the gaps that they have are just big gaps. And obviously, it's you have to be a rocket scientist to understand what I'm saying here. It seems like, offensive line, if every offensive line at Notre Dame responds the way that this one does, Notre Dame will be just fine. Took a little bit to get going, but Harry Hiestand has this offensive line playing as good as any offensive line I've seen at Notre Dame. The running backs, tremendously talented. Estime, Logan Diggs, both unbelievable runners. Chris Tyree and spots is a nice change of pace. And, Notre Dame got him the ball in space a time or two tonight. That was tremendous. The receivers are really coming along, in my opinion. I think Notre Dame's done a tremendous job with those receivers. Jaden Thomas, a bigger guy. They use him in blocking a lot. Tobias Merriweather's going to be a stud when he gets everything figured out. And he's continuing to get things figured out. You can just tell by the amount of snaps that he gets. And the defense, I already talked about the defense. I mean, from top to bottom, as a unit, just tremendous. That defensive line's always going to be good, I think. Linebackers have underperformed, but have been good enough. We got true freshman corners out there. We got, we got safeties lined up in the cut to come into Notre Dame and be the next big thing. So I'm very, very confident in a lot of things, but what I'm not confident in right now is the quarterbacking position. And that's kind of the damper on all this. Notre Dame won this game. Drew Pine was okay. He was okay. I mean, he did what he needed to do, hit a couple throws that he needed to make, but, obviously won this by the strength of the run game. And I just can't help but wonder, what Notre Dame would look like with a truly elite quarterback that could read the whole defense, that could, that can make all the right reads, that can make all the right throws and never miss, one of those throws that you just have to have. And with a truly elite quarterback, it just feels like this particular team would be one that, you put Trevor Lawrence, college Trevor Lawrence on this team and just think how unreal Notre Dame would be. You put a guy like CJ Stroud or Justin Fields or, one of those Ohio State guys. You put a guy like, I don't know. But it just feels like there's one major piece missing, and that's at the quarterback position. And I just can't help but wonder how good Notre Dame would be with that particular piece in the fold. And that's the next big thing. And that's not a Marcus Freeman thing. Obviously, I think that CJ Carr will be the big deal. By the way, speaking of CJ Carr and other recruits, it was really cool. If you follow any of those guys on Instagram, right there at the end of the game, it was like every Notre Dame commit seemed to be on Instagram Live all kind of at the same time. That was pretty sweet to see. But anyway, I feel like CJ Carr could and should be pretty darn good. But I just don't want to wait that long. Notre Dame with, a really good quarterback is a college football playoff team this year. I really don't have many qualms about saying that. I think they could have with better quarterbacking play. And this is not really a knock on Tyler Buchner. First career, big time start. I don't know, against Ohio State on the road. I think that if Tyler Buchner were still healthy, he'd be playing at a really high level right now. I really do. Obviously, that's not the case. And going into next season, he won't have a ton of experience either. And so I don't know. I just don't know about the quarterbacking position at the moment. Would love to see Notre Dame go into the portal and do something at the quarterback position. And I know that there's a lot of layers to that. There's, Buckner could transfer or whatever the situation is. I get that. I understand. But Notre Dame needs to find the next big quarterback piece that it needs to come here. And I believe in Marcus Freeman to do that. I really do. I think that maybe it's CJ, maybe it's somebody else. I don't know. But Notre Dame needs to find, recruit, get on campus the next big quarterback, keep him, develop him. And that's the net. Like, Notre Dame has all of the other pieces right now. All of the other pieces. And so that's kind of my biggest takeaway is that Notre Dame wins this game. Notre Dame might put 50 on Clemson if they have the right piece at quarterback. And I mean, how many points did Notre Dame leave out there tonight? How many times did they have good field position? And it wasn't terrible. They moved the ball a little bit on certain drives, but got good field position, missed a field goal. Got good field position, had to punt. I mean, you turn those into touchdowns, which, that's the difference between what Notre Dame has and what they could have right now. And it's a completely different thing. So again, to rehash Notre Dame, it's so refreshing to see Marcus Freeman's stamp on this program really starting to show itself, because I've been a Freeman fan, a Freeman believer the whole time he's been here. Really, I have. There's something to say for being a player's coach, getting what you can, getting everything you can out of those players. And so it was nice to see Marcus's stamp on this team, or at least what I think was Marcus's stamp on this team tonight. Swarming defense, really physical on offense, pound it, picked up 3rd and 10 and 3rd and 13 on the ground. Just devoted to be a team that does it on the ground. That's awesome. I can't get behind that enough. And to play complementary football, win the field position battle pretty much all night. I love it. I love every part of it. So we've gone about 22 here again. If you're new here, this is the Voice of College Football. Make sure that you subscribe, like, share, tell a friend. Make sure that you're in the know for when we go live, and make sure that you tune in when we go live. Again, sometimes we do the phone call thing. Tonight I'm going to let that one go, but we've had a few comments through here, a few about Brian Kelly. I see somebody on here was able to storm the field. Hopefully that was good, and things are still good in South Bend, and people are being safe, and that it's not too crazy, but people are having a good rowdy time. Talking about the secondary was almost immaculate. Absolutely. I don't really think that, the secondary could have played a whole lot better. Guess what? We're back. I agree. I think Notre Dame has found its mojo. I'm not saying that Notre Dame runs the table the last 3 games and they end up 8-4 with a loss to USC or something like that. But I think what we're seeing is that Notre Dame, at the very least, is trending in the right direction. We thought that before. We questioned it here in the middle. And I think tonight is an indication that at the very least, trending in the right direction. So if you've tuned in this whole time, I appreciate you. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for everything. If you're watching this playback, make sure that you know that when we're going live, all of that stuff. Subscribe to the podcast, Under the Dome Podcast, anywhere podcasts are found. And until next time, go Irish.